Hello, my name is Snowlight. This is my Warcraft University, a YouTube series intended to give new and mid-tier players simple concepts towards playing World of Warcraft at a higher level. In this video we will discuss ElvUI, custom bars, and unit frames. Alright, first things first, let's go ahead and open up the ElvUI anchors. Now what I'm going to do first is more or less put things where I want them. And then after I've put them where I want them, I am going to maybe make changes to the sizes and text and things. So we've got a few things to get out of the way. First of all, moving things out of the way that are almost never on screen or very rarely on screen. For example, the GM ticket frame. That is very rarely used for most people. Main tank and main assist, we'll keep those nearby. Okay, so for me, I like to have, and you can see I've got 3 bars here. One is party frames, one is raid frames, and one is raid frames 40. Now, these 3 windows are never on the screen at the same time. So to have them overlapping, you will only ever see the one or one of the others. So for me, I like to put these up here in the top right. I'm going to start with party, and for now I'm going to put raid. Okay, let's move these out of the way a little bit. The 2 raid frames box is a little bit out of the way because I'm going to make some modifications I can already see to the party frames. If I lock this, you can see that blue and snow are both kind of small on the screen. I don't really like that for a 5-man party, so we'll make some changes to those here in a second. Alright, I've got my little control window hidden up here where there's probably not going to be anything. Minimap is in the top right. I like that in the top right because I've always played with it on the top right. That's how it is on the default UI, and I've never seen a reason to change it. And then player buffs and player debuffs come off of the minimap. I might change that later, but for now that's kind of also mirroring functionality. Talking head frame. This is, I don't want to say new to World of Warcraft because it's new compared to Vanilla and BC and Ice Crown, some of the earlier expansions. But this talking head frame here is a functionality that was added so that you could see the character's head, so you kind of knew who was talking, and then it would have kind of closed caption dialogue down here at the bottom. So I don't know where I want to put this yet. We'll put it here for now. Left chat, right chat, those are fine. Now I've got some other things that are happening, like tooltip got pushed to the corner. Maybe don't put that there. Bag space, bag mover, we will want that somewhere easy to use. And then bank mover. I don't want those over the chats because sometimes I'll be working with the bank or a bag, and I want to see if somebody talks to me or if, I don't know, something else happens chat-wise there. So what I'm going to do is put them somewhere where they're over another thing I'm not using actively, like bars, but we're not sure. For now I'm going to put that there, and this one here mirroring it. Okay. Let's see, we got a few other things. I don't like the loss of control there. Maybe we'll put that up here where the GM ticket is. Again, GM ticket can kind of hide under other stuff because you almost never talk to a GM in the current game. And if you do, you're probably not doing a battle, so your loss of control, you shouldn't be losing your control if you're talking to a GM. Stop doing raids while you're talking to GMs if that's the case. So, yeah. Okay, so let's see. Torghast. Durability frame, vehicles, voice overlay I almost never use, loot frame. So I'm taking a number of things now that are more commonly used, but like not constant, not something that would be interfering during a battle. Maw buffs, and I'm just going to put them in the middle for now, and then because during a battle I would want this space to be open. So for now this is my placeholder while I work on the battle is happening kind of stuff. And actually talking head frame would fall in that category as well. So boss frames. This one, maybe somewhere up there for the moment. And we'll deal with that in a little bit. Objective frame, we don't really have any objectives right now because this is a new character. Below minimap widget. Well, it says below minimap, so let's put that right below the minimap. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Sweet. That is approved. An arena is a PvP frame as well, which will be similar to your bars, so that might end up there as well. Okay. Gosh, why is talking head frame so freaking big?
I sure did.
It's too big.
That's what I sure did.
Vehicle leave button is another of those. Zone ability is another of those. Tooltip. Goodness, do I even use tooltips anymore? I'm not sure. Okay. So, what do we got now? We got player frame and target frame. I'm going to move those to like here. Let's see. Let's line it up with one of the lines. And here. And I'm probably going to make those a decent bit bigger here in a little bit. Now I've got a stance bar that's overlapping a few things. So, now we've kind of... Oh, an experience bar. That's fun. I wonder if there's a rep bar somewhere. Class totems. That's class specific. Pet bot frame and pet cast bar. Probably put those down here somewhere. I don't know. So, I've got a number of bars. 1, 2... Where's 3? 3 is here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, 7, 8, 9, and 10, if you have a class that can have multiple stances or stealth, or in the case of druids, multiple, what would those be?
Specs.
Yeah, specs is a word for it, but I'm thinking more like multiple, like different
Rolls?
cat, bear, flight forms, that's the word. 7, 8, 9, and 10, some of those will overlap with the different forms. So for example, if you go into bear form, bar 8 will serve your bar 1. If you go into cat form, bar 9 will serve your bar 1. So there's a little bit of overlap there. So that being said, I still want to see these. I'll move the bag over for now. And I'm going to put 10, 9, 8, and 7 right about there. So now we've got 6, 5, 4, 3 is here, pet bar is also a thing for hunters, and then 2 and 1. Alright, so far so good. One viewer. Hello, one viewer. Welcome to the stream. Okay. Now there's a few problems with my bars right now. In that... Oh, okay, so 6 is the number pad for me, 5 is probably the other side. Also, these should stay with those. Your player frame and your player cast bar should be together. And similarly, target frame, target cast bar are the same for pets, and the focus frame, will deal with those in a second. In a hot minute. Alright, so 6 and 5. Now here's a cool trick that I've done before that I'm going to do again. 1 and 2, we'll put those right about there, that's fine. So 6 is going to be here, 5 is going to be here, close enough. So I'm going to lock the frames now, even though they're not quite where I want them. And I am going to go into the action bars. We mentioned this on the previous video. And we're going to go to player bars. And that was bar 5 and bar 6. So bar 5, what we're going to do is put buttons per row at 3. And bar 6, we're going to put buttons per row at 3. And button 6 was only showing 6 buttons, so I'm going to change it to show all of them. Alright, and now when I go back into it, you will see that bar 5 and bar 6 look just a little bit different than they did before. Hello. You can see now they are, instead of being one long bar across or one long bar down, it's now ordered almost exactly how you would see a number pad. Almost, not quite. But, oh, it's actually upside down for me. So I'm going to want number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the reason for that is because I actually map those to my mouse buttons, which are, my mouse buttons has the keypad on it, so I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then my thumb can press any of these buttons at any time. So, because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is coming from the bottom up and I want it the top down, we will go ahead and change that. Action bars 6. And what we do is we'll change the anchor point from bottom left to top left. And I'll do that for 5 as well. Make kind of those symmetrical. And now you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This one would mirror it, but I do not have it set up to do the... Aw, I got a hug. Set up to do the number pad. And so I'm going to switch that on my mouse. And now, to show you how that works, and again, this is still a rough draft. That's not what I wanted. I'm going to put an ability on there. How about slow fall? That looks fine. So if I put that on N2, then I press the 2 button on my mouse, it will then cast that ability. And you can even see that it then shows up the buff in the top right corner. And we'll change that as well because that's awfully small. It looks like these are not quite symmetrical for me. So... I think I even want the bars 1 and 2 to be significantly larger. So what I'm going to do is try to line up this with the top right corner of this little grid thing that it puts out here for me. It's a cool little feature. And I'll try to mirror that on this side as well. That looks about right. Alright, and then I'm going to lock it again. Now 1, 2, 5, and 6. I may even do more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this button size from 30. I'm just going to change it to 40 by typing it in there. And we'll see how that looks. That looks a little better. I like that a little bit better. And we'll do the same for bar 2. Maybe even bring bar 3 and 4 down here. I'm not sure yet. So let's lock this. Bar 2. Change that to, it did not change, 40. Alright, did that do it? I feel like I'm just missing buttons here. Lock, let's find out. Yeah, that's only showing 10 buttons instead of 12, so I'm going to do that. And... well, it put them on the next line. You can kind of faintly see the outline of all the 10 buttons and then the 2 buttons that it just added. So we will change this from 10 buttons to row to 12 buttons per row. Don't touch the button spacing for now. Well, I guess I could show you that. That's set at 1 right now. So if I do that, so now bar 2 looks about the same as bar 1. Like that pretty well. And just to show you what this button spacing does, if I put this at 1.5, oh, I guess 2 is the option I can use. Now you can see that the spacing on this has expanded a little bit such that it is slightly longer than bar 1. If I make it even more prominent, you can see that it gets significantly more so. And you can play with that at your leisure. I don't mind having the buttons right next to each other, so I'm going to put it back to 1. And you can see that that's there nicely as well. And I think I'm going to put bars 3 and 4 down there as well. So let's put them down there. Now you can see they're going vertically instead of horizontally. So to change that, what we're going to do is change buttons per row. It should say 1 or 2 here. And I'm going to change that to 12. And you can actually see it down there at the bottom of the screen. Changing from a vertical orientation to a horizontal orientation. I'm going to do the same 40 thing here. That'll make it the same size. Make sure we're showing all 12 buttons. And do the same thing here. And then 40. Now this one looks like it has a border of some kind. So let's see. Backdrop settings. Ah, it's got backdrop settings. That's a new one for me. Because bar settings. Bar settings. Backdrop. I think if I uncheck this backdrop option here, yeah, that'll take that away. And then everything else falls into place. So if you wanted to have like a little border with a black kind of opacity to it, you could then turn on the backdrop settings here and do that. But for now, we will change this, kind of normalize that with everything else we've done so far, and then move it around by hitting toggle anchors and moving 3 and 4 up to there. Okay, so what I've done here is I've made it so I've got 4 bars of primary buttons that I can push. And you can see a few of these have been mapped out to like page up, page down. I got a little tick mark on bar 4 that I can map to something. That'll probably be a blink or a something similar. Bar 5 and 6 are offsetting. Let's move those a little closer now. And I'll probably make them a little bigger as well. And then I've got my 7, 8, 9, 10. These bars over here. Hello, cat. You want to be part of the recording? Yeah, you do. You know, you just want love, I get it. So anyway, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are over here. If they are used for stances, I will see that. Otherwise, I can add additional bars there as well. So, that is more or less where I'm going to want it. I'll put talking frame over here for now. And what I'm going to do is basically play the game from my character's avatar up. And you can see that it focuses on this center point, which is kind of the top of the head. So as I zoom in and out, it's going to change it a little bit from waist to something well under her. But this will give me a little bit of perspective here. Maybe I want to change this a little bit. And what I'm thinking is I don't want to cover too much of what's behind me, because sometimes being able to see a mechanic happening behind you is valuable as well. So maybe what we'll do is similar to the default frame, we'll take 3 and 4 and put them back over here. Yeah, I think we'll do that. So I'm going to very quickly undo some of the things that I just did, and we will then make that change. So 3, change this buttons per row, change it to 1, and that'll make it vertical. And 4 buttons per row, change that to 1. And then we probably don't need the same size of buttons if they're going to be over on the right hand side. So how about 35 for now? Button size 35. And now that they're about the right size, we can put them just above. Let's see, I think I like it this way. 3 here, 4 here. And when I say I like it this way, that's a preference thing for me. If you like it slightly differently, make it slightly different. That's fine. It is up to you. The idea here is that we're doing happy little UI changes. Making it so that the UI does what we want. I think I want this a little bit bigger. No, yeah, I think I do. Let's make this, I'm going to put it back to 40. Yeah, 40 will work just fine here. And then get it kind of snapping a little bit. Maybe I can turn off sticky frames. And now it will not snap to everywhere. Put that right about there. Put that right about there. Alright, that looks pretty good for 3 and 4. They look more or less symmetrical, maybe off by a pixel or 2, but pretty much where I want them. And I'm going to turn sticky frames back on. So now what I've done is if I close this, I've made it so that my main buttons are all right here where I can easily see them. And then I've got a number of other buttons down here that I can add to that will be useful for me as I play the game. So I like that. Now I've got a bunch of other stuff that's just randomly placed for now. Let's deal with some of that. So, if you play... Ooh, before I do that, let's change the size on 5 and 6. 37, how does that look? That looks a little better. Okay. Toggle anchors, we'll line these guys up a little bit better. Right about there. For me, that's close enough to symmetrical that I'm happy with it. Alright, so we've got our 10 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are all in a place that is convenient for me and I like it. I like where my chat windows are at. I'm going to move the bag mover over 7, 8, 9, and 10 because that way, and let me show you that. That way, if I open up my bags, which looks a little different in ElvUI than it does in others, that will cover up over top of the buttons that I rarely use. So if I wanted to, I could, for example, take this Hearthstone, drag it away, press B to close the bags, and then put it down here where I can use it. So the functionality is not lost, it is just covered only while I'm doing bag space management. And this is also going to bother me, you can see here, let me position this so you can see, but the spacing in between these four is not consistent, so I'm a little not happy with that. Let's move maybe 7 and 8 up just a little bit. Right about there. That looks a little more symmetrical to me. Okay, so now we've got the bag mover covering over top of these bars when we're opening the bags. And similarly, the bank mover, if you are opening a bank or talking to a banker, that will then open up your screen here, and you can cover that with other things as well. So now we've kind of got where we want everything if we are in a combat scenario, so it's pretty clean and not intrusive, but available to us as we need the different things, which is pretty much the criteria we're going for here. So as you can see, I can do things and I can see very clearly what's going on my bars while I'm in combat without having to go look for a specific thing or a hidden thing, and with the maximum number of slots available. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, this up here I am not at all happy with. So I'm going to go back into the settings here, /EC for if you've forgotten. And for this should be under, let's see if we can find it again, unit frames. So we've got unit frames. Some of these settings were already set when we did the base setup process earlier. And what we're going to look for is, let's see if I can find it. Individual units? No. Maybe it's under general. Don't see it here either. Let's see. Here we go. Unit frames, individual units, and then player, pet, target, etc. So for player, now that's this one right here. That is a little smaller than I'd like. So this one and these ones are the ones we're looking for. So for now we're working with this one. That's a little smaller than I like. It has my name. It has, I believe, my current health and my percentage health here, and my class color. So I like all of those things. I think there's a way to make it so that it will actually show my character's avatar as well. We might do that. We might not do that. We'll see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to player and health. It's been a while since I've done this, actually. Name is there. Top left, that's fine. Right, position, right. Attach text to health. Okay, so this is the text for that, but it's not the actual bar. Not the class bar. General, maybe. Frame orientation. Here we go. Okay, so we're now in individual units, player, general. So this is controlling this frame here, and all of these are different settings for this frame here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the width because I want it to be a little wider. Probably about there. And maybe a little taller. And again, the goal here is for it to fit your needs so you can see it clearly and obviously. And especially for your health pool or if you're a healer, you want it to be nice and significantly large so that you can see it without having to hunt it at all. If you have to do any hunting, then it's a very big problem. So I'm going to change this to an even number, 280 and 60. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to do the same thing with the target frame here in a second. The target frame being this one up here. Now with that, I'm pretty happy with it. I want to see if there is a portrait mode. If I enable that, hit accept, and now it actually shows my character's portrait over top of everything else. And that's pretty cool. I like that. And then the next thing is going to look for resource, which is... I see you kicked out the cat. Probably not. So there's the health. That's text though. Resource equals power. Excellent. So now we're looking at the power bar, which should, for my class of mage, be mana. And what I'm going to look for is a size, position, left. Here we go. Height. Let's make that maybe an 8. Possibly even a 10. And what that's going to do is that's going to expand the bar up from the bottom so that I can see how much mana I have left. Well, maybe, you know what we'll do? Is we'll probably even make that a 20. Maybe not 20. That's pretty intrusive. And then we can put like a percentage health in there. So let's see if we can do that. Let's see, is there text in here? Attach text to power. Style. It's been a little while since I changed the text format within the frame, so I'm a little rusty on that. Joda is watching, by the way.
Oh, nice.
He's a guildie.
Yes.
That is excellent. Yeah, the new Joe.
Yes, the new Joe.
Yes.
The one that's in a raid. Right?
Mm-hmm. I think he got into SCI. Oh, I just realized I didn't verify that I was recording, but I am recording, so it's fine. I just had a panic moment there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually go to health and look at health and steal from health and put it in power. And for now we're just going to hit that, and so that is health, but I want it to be, let's see if it works with mana. Yep, that works with mana, so as I'll do mana here as well. So now when I cast a spell, I can see... Stand by, we have a cat to smack. Alright, so I changed it to mana current and mana percent to mirror the health stuff that we had already. And if you had a different resource like rage, you could put rage here, I imagine. or energy if you were a cat or a rogue. You can put those there as well. I don't like it on the left, so I'm going to put it right. Move this a little bit so I can see it, and I like that a lot better. I'm maybe going to offset it a little more, so it's a little more lined up with the health percentage. Alright, I like that a lot. Then, I'm going to change the portrait a little bit more. I like where it's at, or I don't know that I like where it's at. I definitely don't like the size because let's X offset. Maybe not F offset, that could be taken incorrectly. Camera distance scale, if I scale this down a bit, I can actually see a little more of my character's face, and I like that a little bit better. So that's the portrait, which is there. Now, if you're running a weaker PC, you probably do not want to use portrait mode, so you would disable this right here. Only if you're using a more powerful PC where it can handle 3D models beyond what it's already handling in game, then that's when you're fine to use it. So you can try it. You can also apparently change it from 3D to, oh gosh, I have done a horrible thing, or to class, which is the mage symbol. But we're going to do 3D because we don't like horribly mutating our face. That was awful. There are some other things in here, but for now I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to go, let's see, 280 and 60. I'm going to do the same thing for the target frame, which is my primary target as I'm playing the game. I put the wrong number in there. And I'm going to target, where did you go? There you are. Blue, so I can now see that is definitely not symmetrical. Oh, nice consecrate. So let's, now that the sizes are correct, let's go ahead and do a little symmetricalizing. I think what I'm going to do is line them up with the bars 5 and 6. And since they're not playing nice, I'm going to sticky frames them, or unsticky frames them, and put them where I want. And I can actually see frame 6 isn't quite right either. That seems fine. And then keep their cast bars with them. Alright, so the target frame, player frame, I have made a few modifications here. Do this so that we can see it. And the target frame does not reflect that. So let's go ahead and make some of those same modifications. We'll go power is 15, position right, offsets 5, so we'll do that over here. Power height is 15. And just like with the other stuff, you can slide the bar or type in the number, that's fine. And then position right, this was a -5. And then I'm going to also copy, oop, I clicked on the wrong thing. What did I click on? Oh dear. Individual units, that's what we're talking about. Power. I'm gonna do this. Also the target. Now, a target may not have mana. Oh, it's not showing the text. Oh, it's attached to power. There we go. May not have mana, so I'm curious if I change this to power. I'd hit OK. And that seems to work just fine. So maybe what I'll do is change that to power on both. And that should then commit to whatever is the resource that you're using, whether that be rage, energy, etc., mana, etc. And then as before, portrait. It's portrait over here on the target. Enable that guy, hit accept, And then just kind of copy over some of those same things. 3.07. And the other one was the offset of 0.5 negative. Okay. So now, if I close this, you can see that I can see what my character, my current health, my current mana. The class bar is specific to my class. If I target another character, I can see also names. That character's model, or at least a small bit of it. Health, percentage, mana, percentage. And then if that person were to cast a spell that cost mana, I should be able to see that one that costs mana. There you go. I should see that reflected here, and the mana will go down, and the percentage will also go down to mirror that. So that's more where I want it. I can also see that character's buffs up here. Is that a frame, I wonder? So that's just automatically putting it above the character, which is fine. But now... And then if I get a buff, I don't see it above my character, instead I see it up here. Well, and then it does have this... it does also show it above my character with the decreasing bar that shows the same. We will look at debuffs in a little bit, but for now I'm pretty happy with that. And all the buffs up here and things like that, that will also be somewhere in here, probably under the buffs tab right here, and you can make changes to those. We'll maybe just do a quick change the height of it. Size override, per row, number of rows, offset, spacing, attached to the frame, anchor point. I'm going to put that top left. That shouldn't make a significant difference there. Growth direction, that's fine. Growth direction Y is up. That's the one I want to see because that means it will add more buffs upwards. And then sort direction descending is fine. Sort by time remaining. So this is a nice one because if there's something about to expire, like if I were to put a buff on myself and then... Ooh, do I have another buff I can use? Let's see, do we have... Yeah, I don't think I'm high enough level on this character to have like a shield or something. Oh, Arcane Intellect, that'll work nicely. So, open this back up. So if I put Arcane Intellect on myself, why is that not showing up? Okay, so there's some kind of a duration limit here that it's not doing. Yeah, something like that. But for the moment you can see if I cast Slow Fall on myself, you can see that it adds that. In theory, if there were more buffs, it would add additively upwards. And I really want to change the height of it. So I have a little bit of a bigger buff. But I'm not seeing that. So for now, we're going to say it's somewhere in here and I forget where. Okay, great. That's fantastic. So now I've got my bars and my character frames right about where I want them. And would you go run over there so you're out of range of me, dear? So in theory, if she goes out of range, this should fade to a darker color, and I believe range is set at somewhere like 40. There it goes. So now, because she's faded a little bit, you can see here and then up there that her character frame has faded out, which means if you try to cast most spells, especially healing spells, then she would be out of range. And it will do that for friendly and enemy characters as well. You can copy from the player frame. Pally can cast Freedom. Ooh, can you cast Hand of Freedom on me? You only made this character 10 minutes ago. Or how long have we been recording now? 42 minutes? Oh my goodness, this is getting nice and long real quick. Okay, well, that will be sufficient for now. And apparently I have a Light-Forged Fell Crusher. Lovely. Yes. I wonder if I do this. How about that? Okay, so there we go. So if I cast Slow Fall, and then I cast Refreshment, so I'm eating something, now both of the buffs are there. I'm not quite sure where the buff height is, but that explains it there. And I might switch those so that the longest one stays at the bottom. I saw that a second ago. Growth direction is up. Sort direction will make that ascending. So then if I cast one and then the other, the longer of the two will be on the bottom. The timers are backwards on that. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it cares. Because I'm changing it and it's not making a difference there. So, not sure why it's not working, but sure. At least we can see them if they're there. Cool. So the next thing I want to change is my unit frames, because that is also part of the battle stuff. So we will take a look at that. I've got party frames up there now. So let's go to... if I can remember it. It's not any of these. Group units. There we go. So under unit frames, it will be under group units. Now, as a PvE player, primarily at least, I am going to care most about party, raid, and raid 40, and then raid pet is in there too. So, and then boss frames is also going to be useful to me. So party. First things first. I would like the party to go from bottom, not from bottom to top, but from top to bottom. So that is going to be growth direction, down, and then right. Now, with a party, it's limit to 5, so it should never grow to the right, but that's the idea. Then, I would like to change the width to be maybe about there, and the height so that it's a little bit bigger. And this is going to mirror, more than anything, this is just because I've been doing it like this for so long. And also get this tooltip out of here. That I kind of have a set way that I want to see these. So that's what I'm going for more than anything. For you, it should always be something that you're comfortable with, that then, that isn't overly intrusive. For example, if I were to make this super wide and super tall, that gets very intrusive very quickly. We don't really want that. So I'm going to change that back to, about there. About there, and then similarly to the other ones, I'm going to make some changes to the text. Right. Health color, health current percentage, short value, and I think I'm just going to actually steal those from the same frames we just did down here, because I want to see health of each player, and then maybe we'll also do power as well. So back over to group units, party, health, hit that. Not going to change the color because I kind of like the color how it is. I can see the names. I'm going to change the names as well to be, instead of center, keep those on the left, maybe with a 20 pixel offset, something like that. Maybe not 2. And the reason for that is because sometimes there will be buffs that leave a certain symbol or a color square in a corner or even right on the side. I know that because I've been playing a priest for so long that I just kind of know. And also, I'm not fond of having the class name colored. Makes it a little harder to see versus that. So I'm going to leave it like that. And then I can see their health. And then we're going to do the same with the power bar as well. That looks nice already, so I'm not really going to change the height of it too much. And we'll change attach to power. And similar to the individual ones, we'll just take again this power current and power percent and drop those right over here. hit OK. So now I can see again health and power just like I can see down here. I'm not going to show the portrait for each one because that will start to get a little out of hand with 5 more portraits on the screen. I don't really need to see every player's portrait in portrait mode when we're in a party. Maybe I'll turn that on later, I don't really know. And so there's also a roll icon on here in the bottom right of the health area. It does not overlap with the mana. That's useful if you're in a party or a raid, so I'm going to leave that there for now is fine. In theory I could move the position of it, but I like it where it's at. This little sword thing here, if we were playing a tank character it would be different. It would be the shield character or the health would be the little plus sign. So pretty happy with those. Now we're going to do raid. Now when I did party, I told it to grow down and then right. So it starts from the top and grows down, and then for more it will go right. When we go to raid, I'm going to change that to go right and then down. Meaning a party, instead of going from top to bottom, will now go right to left, and then each additional party will go below it. With regards to target frames, one thing that helped me a lot was making sure I could see the percent health of the boss, since boss doing stuff at specific health. That's a really good point, Joe, but we're not there yet. We're going to get to that after this. Let's see. Can I convert this to a raid with 2 people in it? I believe I can. So, I'm going to go, raid, convert to raid. And move you over there. So I immediately see another problem. When I convert it to raid, I do not want to see the party, I want to see only the raid frames. So let's do, back over here, I'm going to go back to party, and look for something that says, when there is a raid, hide the party. I'm not sure where that is. So we're going to look for a little bit for that. I wonder if it's in here.
Do you need a certain amount of people to trigger that now? Did they convince
No.
it?
Oh, maybe. Maybe so. Because we're now in a raid. But there's only the 2 of us. So the problem is that if I move you to another party within the raid, I no longer see you at all.
Right. I think it's because we need a few more people to push it over.
Warning. Enable a number of groups are managed by Smart Raid Finder. Disable Smart Raid Finder in Unit Frames General to change these settings. Alright. Smart Raid Finder. Okay. So I have disabled that. Now, if I come back over here, okay, gonna leave the party and then re-invite. Alright, so it's a party now. And general Smart Raid Finder is off. Group units, raid, display, enabled. So now if we change it to a raid, in theory, it will not work. Let's see what happens if I reload the UI. And it still thinks we're in a party.
Yeah, because I think you need 5 or more people to kick it over.
You're right, but then it should show Well, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Group units. So maybe I should have this on. No. I need to find the visibility settings. Well, that's a problem. Group units. Party is enabled. So if I do that, enable and number of groups. Oh, where's number of groups? Change that, so it's going to change that here in a second. So party is happy. And if I turn this off, then raid is happy and raid is on. Until I move you to another group, and then it's horrible. Huh. We'll have to come back to that. Actually... Okay, so we're having a little bit of trouble here because we only have the two of us. And for raid to kick in, apparently it needs to have 6 or more, I'm going to say. It becomes raid frames based on the number of players. Right, that's the conclusion we're reaching. Under Unity frames, group Unity, raid look for a text with something like 25. Unity frames... Well, unit frames, group units, raid, look for a text with something like @25. And so, raid @6, no exists, hide, show. So if we change that to raid 2, and since we're in a raid, now what would happen? Okay. So now I think it's working. So if I leave the party, which is a raid, and then join a regular party, so now it's there. And then if I convert it to a raid, then it changes over to the raid frames. Okay, so that's a little convoluted and not terribly exciting. Party frames and raid frames at the same time is the issue. It might be best. So I've changed that now. So now it will only show one or the other depending on the type of party. So here if I invite, so now you can see it's a 2-person party and it's showing the party frames, and if I were to convert it to a raid, it'll only show raid. So that gets us most of the way there. That's awesome. This is a little convoluted, but I think there's got to be, let me look up real quick if there's a party. There's got to be a similar one for party. But I think for now I'm happy with that because even if I leave the party, it just has a duplicate frame here to here, which is fine for me. I don't mind that. Raid. And the internet is not being very helpful on this, so... party frame's only showing one of when there's a party member. Yeah, that's the symptom I'm having. Okay, so now what we've got is we've got a party. I can invite, and then we extend the party, and then if I change it to a raid, it will then switch from the party frames to the raid frames. So that's what we're looking for. And how I did that is that in the party frames, there's this visibility tab, and I changed it to at raid 2 no exists show hide. So if it's a raid of at least 2, then it will show it, but if it's not a raid, it will hide it for the party frames.
Cool.
I might have that backwards, I'm not sure. But I do basically the opposite on the raid frames, and then with raid 40, we will set that to, it's already there, so to raid 26 no exists hide show. So doing the same thing there. And then I'm going to toggle the anchors because I intentionally had these offset while we did it. Put these guys overlapping something like that. So they all start from the exact same corner. And make sure that our growth is ascending. Oh, I changed that earlier and I did it wrong. I want it to grow down. Right and then down. Right and then down. And for this, for raid, I want it to be a little bigger than that. And I'm gonna make these frames a little different than my party frames because there can be up to 25 or even up to 40 characters. It's pretty uncommon to have 40 at this point.
It's like PvP.
PvP is the most common use case, I think, at this point, especially in epic battlegrounds. So if you're doing that, you may want to mess with your raid 40 frames. For me, I'm going to pretty much ignore this for the rest of this and focus on just the raid frames here. And I'm going to add the, let's see what we got. We got the width, the height, that's kind of nice. Growth is nice. Display is right. Grouping and sorting. Group by group. Oh, this is cool. You could actually change it so it groups it by class or by party name or character name or role. You could group all your tanks and healers together. But we'll leave it as group just because I have been playing group-based for over 15 years now. Sort direction is ascending, which means it'll go 1 at the top, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the next row, 3 at the next row, etc. Sort method index, that's fine. And then I'm gonna go to health. Maybe I'm not gonna do health because in a raid, the percentage of health, you don't really need to know the exact percentage number, but it's useful. You'll be able to see it as the character gains or loses health. Their color bar will change and increase or decrease to the right. So I'm going to leave that there, but I do want to see power as well because that is an interesting thing for me. Oh, and I'm also going to change the name to top. That was not the right button. Top. So I can see the character's name. You know, let's go ahead and add in health. Let's add it to the center, anchored to the health bar. That's fine. May even put this on the bottom. Health color. And then once again, I'm going to steal this from over here where I see the current and percentage health. And just drop that right in there as well and hit OK. Maybe make that just a skosh smaller. Where's size? I don't see size. Oh my gosh.
Maybe not everything has a size?
Or maybe it's all custom texts. No? Yeah, maybe not everything has a size, so I might have to just do health percentages in raid. And hit that. Okay, that looks a little nicer to me. And then I'm going to come over here to power. And I'm going to make the height maybe something like that. 12 seems like a good height. And I'm going to attach the text to the power. And similarly, we're going to do kind of the same as before, is I'm just going to steal the percentage of power. And this is very useful for healers because you want to keep track of your healer power, your healer mana in most cases. I don't think that there's a healer that uses anything but mana.
I can't think of any.
But I'm going to put that right there and hit OK. Maybe anchor it to the center. That doesn't look nice. Oh, it's because the health... Oh, not the health. The roll icon is attached to the information panel instead of that. So that looks a little better. And then there may be an offset. That's -2. Make that a 0. Make that a 0, and then it should line up. And then again, my character names are using this class color feature that I don't like, so let's remove that. And now I can very quickly see the character name, the percentage health, and the percentage mana. It is not as detailed as the other frames where we have the actual health value and mana values, but that should be sufficient for this guy here. And now I'm being reminded in chat that the display frame will show what it looks like in action. So if I'm going to hit that button, you can now see, now it's a little overwhelming instantly just because you can see that it's showing for a number of characters actually using my character repeatedly, and it's showing different characters' classes. You can see if the health bar goes down, it changes that. You can see it turns towards red, which for me is fine as you lose health. Maybe I'll mess with that later, but not. And then if there is a debuff like a fear on the character, it's a little offset. So let's click on the debuffs. It says that's disabled though. So I'm not entirely sure why it's doing that. Buffs, that's disabled as well. And I may have to hunt around a little bit more to find where that's coming from. But that is the general idea there. So I'm going to turn that off because it's a little overwhelming. But we're getting a lot closer to where I want to be. And let's see, the last piece that I want to focus on here, now we've got things like stance bars and pet frames and focus frames, and those are all modified in the same way as everything else. Maybe I'll just put the pet bar over here for now. That's fine. I'm going to put the experience bar down here, stance bar, maybe just right below it. We can make changes to these bars just in the same ways that we've changed everything else so far. But at this point, I am getting pretty happy with how the layout is working for the most part as it pertains to battle. And I think I'm just going to put a few things over here. Maybe move that up, maybe move that down. Maybe move that up a little bit. Something like that. That way, if I'm playing a class that has a pet, it'll be here. Otherwise, I have my focus frame, which some classes I use. And then the boss frame is the other big one, which is here. Now, I think I'm going to move that. Oh, and arena frames, we'll dedicate much more time to PvP-based stuff later. I'll probably just put that over there for now. Boss frame, I'm going to put that right here. So the only thing that would cover it up is if I was in the bank. There are extremely few cases where the bank is going to be happening while you're facing a boss. If you find one, please let me know in the comments. I am very interested in that.
Can I tell you of my accidental summon of my squire, and I opened the bank and pulled the boss, and I didn't know they pulled the boss because I had the bank open?
I think maybe we'll save that for story time. But the short version of it is that you can like summon the bank through different means throughout the game to be somewhere in an instance where there's going to be a boss. Please don't.
It's bad for you.
It's kind of bad for you. Or at least put the bank away before you pull the boss. Okay, so while we've been talking here, I'm going to put maybe totems down there in the corner. Don't really use those much. What I've done is I've moved the boss frames immediately under the raid frame, so that it's got its own dedicated space here. While you're raiding, this is quite valuable because in a lot of cases, you'll be fighting a boss and you need to know its percentage health. The boss will do additional things, phase changes, for example, while you're fighting it. And so it's good for it to have its own space where you can keep track of that. Now, I don't want it to be obtrusive in the center, so I've put it over here. And then I've put my main tank and main assist frames right next to it. So the three most critical frames, the boss frames and the main tanks, if I'm playing a tank or a DPS character, are all right here for me. And as a healer, the healer frames are going to be somewhere up here. Party or raid 40. And then the bank is the only thing that would cover that up. That should not happen at the same time. So I'm happy with that. And then I don't want this video to drag on too much longer, so I'm just going to point out that I've got all these things in the center here. I don't recommend leaving them right in the center because this is between about here and about here is where you're more or less going to play the game. And you can zoom out or zoom in to change your perspective and how much real estate you have on the screen for that. And so I don't recommend leaving all of these things in the center. Now, talking head frame, I'm going to put that over here because if that covers up the right chat, which is generally my loot frames or my trade frames, that's fine with me. And I may have to change the order of what's in front of what, and that's fine. We'll deal with that later. But I'm going to cover up the one with the other. And battle.net frame, I believe that's like the main menu. I'm just going to put that in the bottom. Ma buffs widget. Again, another thing I'm going to put at the bottom now that I'm not really using it. Vehicle seat frame. This can be useful for some use cases, so maybe we'll put that right there. So I have access to it, but it's not in the way. Zone ability, yeah, let's get that out of there. That was used primarily in, what was the expansion? Where they introduced vehicles.
There were vehicles in Wrath.
Yeah, but it wasn't the true vehicle mechanic. It was the one, that was, okay, just in a previous expansion, there was vehicles and zones and things like that. Durability frame, I like to see that. Well, let's put that right up there where it's close to the party frames, for example. Well, this is the one where it shows if your armor is falling apart. And yeah, maybe how about next to the minimap? That seems fine. Objective frame, that's the one where it shows you all of your objectives. Voice overlay, that's for the text, the voice chat that our raid does not use. I almost never use this, so that will probably also end up somewhere over here. And then objective frames, if I'm not doing a boss, I want to see in that same space what my next objectives are. So I'm going to put that over here, and then if I am doing a boss, I'm going to hide it. Maybe we'll put that like right there and then slide this down just a bit. I think that seems fine. And then we got a number of other things. Your loot frame is only going to appear when there's loot on the screen, so that's fine. Vehicle leave frame, I'm going to put that next to the vehicle seat frame so that if I want to leave it, I can leave it quickly. And the rest of these are little things that you can kind of put wherever you want. Alternative power is a good raid one because that will sometimes pop up a button for you to click on. I put those almost always right down here, and I will make some modifications to that one. And then some of these last few things just kind of get out of the way. There are a few things that really do get ignored as you're playing. Like for me, the arena frames, because I'm primarily a PvE player. So that should give you an idea to get yourself started in here. Now, I've said this before, but everything is customizable. I'm going to move these a little more center. Just about everything in the game is customizable through ElvUI. Oh, and someone in the chat is mentioning that Boss frames are also great for multi-dot classes if there are a bunch of nameplates covering up the boss. Yeah, so boss frames, if you are targeting the boss, it'll put it here, but if you're not targeting the boss, it will always be here during a boss encounter, as the boss's percentages and things like that. So the boss frames are really, really excellent. Just to kind of give you an idea, if I go to boss under the group units, let's go ahead and display those real quick. So now this would be an 8 boss encounter, which I hope you never have to encounter, but it shows you the boss's statistics in the same way. I think what I will change here is it's got the health as well, and I will change that to a percentage, because when you're facing a boss, you almost never care about the exact health value, you care about the percentage health. So I will really quickly change that. And just like before, I am going to make it so that it is using the health percentage value instead of the health current. Okay, and then that will show as 100%. And because bosses generally don't have classes, I'm going to change it, and I'm probably going to continue messing with this later. But what I'm going to do now is change. Can I do the color here? Class color, override. Nope, that's not working. So I'm going to have to find again the color controls here and change those so that instead of focusing on the class colors here, which most bosses don't match the classes in the game, so this is kind of misleading, I want the boss to be like just a very simple color scheme and not changing as it loses health. So I'm going to mess with that later. Maybe in a future video we'll come back to that and change that and do some of those more in-depth customizations. But for now I'm pretty happy with how this is going. Change name to not class color because that doesn't make any sense. And we'll also change the power to the not class color, and also the percent. And this percentage value is actually useful. I did a bad. There we go. Attach maybe to the power. There are a number of bosses where it will either like gain a resource or lose a resource, and when it reaches a certain threshold, it does something significant. So similar to your character, that's actually useful information to have when you're facing a boss. And maybe put this also on the right with an offset of -2. I am losing my mind. For example, the Anduin fight, when he reaches, you want to try to get him to 100% of his resource, and when he does that, good things happen. For other bosses, when they reach 100%, bad things happen. So, things like that. And yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this, where this is for now. We'll do another video in the future at some point and go into a little bit more with this, but I think for now that should give everybody a good idea of where we're at with the modifying ElvUI, getting it kind of in the place where you want it to be. That will wrap it up for this topic. If you found this useful, please leave a like on the video or a comment with any questions or ideas so we can continue to work on this series. The subscribe button and the bell are there so you can see when new videos come out, if that is your desire. As always, please be positive in your guilds and help make WoW a fun place for everyone to play. Goodbye for now.